Well, on now to an NDTV special report. It's been called the largest and most intense maritime search operation in Indian waters. The hunt for a missing Coast Guard Dornier aircraft. After more than 30 days, the aircraft was eventually found after several initial setbacks. I travelled off the coast of Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh for this story on the ship, the Olympic Canyon, whose crew spotted and then retrieved the wreckage of the aircraft using state-of-the-art underwater rovers. June 12th was like any other day for this ship, the Olympic Canyon. A specialist multi-support vessel deployed in the Reliance BP-run Krishna Godavari oil and gas fields off the Andhra coast, the Canyon was busy installing subsea components to keep the operations going. A day later, she would be called in to help in what became the largest, most intense and most challenging maritime search operation in India's history. An operation that took place more than 345 nautical miles from the KG D6 field where she's deployed. Now, for the first time since the Olympic Canyon detected and retrieved the wreckage of the Coast Guard Dornier, 32 days after she went down, we are allowed on board this state-of-the-art vessel deployed off the Kakinada coast to speak to the men who led the operations.
It was a very special case for us. We were a little bit apprehensive as to what we would find. We're happy to have been involved with it, and to get some closure for the families was foremost in our minds.
How challenging was the mission?
Very challenging, yes. Seabed conditions, the weather. We had rough terrain in the first search area, which meant people have to man their stations at all times. The wreckage is, it's another wreck, but when you see the bones on the seabed, you think that was a person.
And this is what found the wreckage of the Coast Guard Dornier, one of the two state-of-the-art Helix remotely operated vehicles tethered to the Olympic Canyon. Capable of diving to depths of more than 3 kilometers, the ROVs came equipped with claws that mimic the dexterity of the human wrist. They are sensitive enough to lift an egg without damaging it. Also on board, specialized low-light cameras.
She's the only vessel available in the Indian waters with ROV capabilities. So she was called upon. She's served the Indian services before to help them recover other aircrafts that they had lost. So she's able to search the seabed, give real-time video back to the vessel of what she's seeing seabed, and then able to use the ROVs to recover, whatever salvage may be discovered.
What? More debris coming up.
Yeah, roger, Pat. Let's move up to it. Have a good look at it.
On the 10th of July, in her second deployment to the likely crash site, the moment of truth arrived at 9:45 in the morning. Acting on fresh coordinates provided by an Indian Navy Kilo-class submarine, the Sindhu Dwaj, which had homed into the signal of the emergency locator beacon of the Dornier's black box, the Olympic Canyon sent down her rovers to the crushing depth of almost 1 kilometer. This is how it all played out. Well, the moment of truth for this particular vessel came when they discovered the digital flight data recorder of the Indian Coast Guard Dornier that went down. It was actually in this particular console where they discovered it. This is where the operations of the ROV are monitored. And joining me now, Ian Dowdle, he is an ROV supervisor. And this is the actual footage, right, Ian, of the moment when you were trying to lift the DFDR. Could you just talk us through what we are seeing here?
Okay, basically we have the 7-function manipulator. We noticed the handles are damaged on the flight recorder, so we've hooked the jaw under one corner of the manipulator, and we're currently lifting it off the seabed. And
And this is done very gently. What you were explaining to me earlier on was that this is extremely dexterous, the arms, right? I mean,
yes.
you can lift and you can manipulate really small things underwater.
Yes, we can set the pressures in our jaws
Right.
to a variety of pressures. Basically, we can pick up an egg.
Wow.
Should we require to, and two full, approximately, I think it's about 107 Newton meters.
Right. And over here at this stage, it's been lifted.
Yes. So now we've taken it off the seabed, and the ROV is now flying back to a subsea basket, which we will endeavour to, we'll deposit this in.
And you had deposited this in at that stage. This is at a depth of 922 meters, right?
Correct.
And that becomes extremely deep.
Yes,
by any
yes.
standards, and that's because of the pressures involved, obviously.
Yes, I think it's one atmosphere every 10 metres, isn't
Yes.
it? So,
Just describe to us the moment that you guys managed to find the DFDR, because it wasn't an easy operation. It took a long time to do this. And when
Yes.
you saw this for the first time, I mean, just give us an idea of what it actually felt like.
basically, when we came on the location, the survey set up grid lines. I believe they were every 50 metres, and we set our sonar to a 100-metre range,
Right.
and we basically flew that grid line until we hit targets on the sonar, and eventually we got targets. And
Was there a great deal of excitement when it actually happened?
it's nice to know that we found it. Yes,
Yeah.
it's.
And the footage was so clear that you were actually able to identify it immediately. You knew exactly what you were looking at.
Yes, as soon as we come across the wreckage, we knew that it was the wreckage. So.
Over the next few days, the canyon deployed the rovers over and over again across the debris field spread over 2 square kilometers, locating not just the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, but large parts of the aircraft, and most importantly, bone fragments of the dead Coast Guard crew. For the families of those who died, there would finally be some closure.
The search for the missing Coast Guard Dornier was the largest maritime search operation ever attempted in Indian waters. It involved the Coast Guard, it involved the Navy, it involved satellites, and it also involved the crew of this ship, the Olympic Canyon, a ship which has capabilities that do not exist on any other ship in these waters. As a result of this combined effort, the families of those who had lost their near and dear ones found a sense of closure. With camera person Dinesh Harale, Vishnu Shom for NDTV.